family reunion here on the Pocho Hour
What?
Power. We'll get to that. It's a beautiful day here in LA, and we are here on the Pocho Hour of Power, ready to talk to Pamela Sepulveda from the Casa Youth Shelter. Pamela, welcome to the Pocho Hour of Power.
Thank you guys for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here today.
Oh yeah, it's great to have you on. You are Gary, you moved the screen. Yeah, I'm trying to read
Gary, Jesus.
all the great stuff that you do. But you are the clinical social worker and community outreach director for Casa Youth Shelter. Where is Casa Youth Shelter?
Well, we are located in a small community called Los Alamitos, just on the Long Beach, Orange County border.
Okay.
However, our shelter serves youth from all over, not just Southern California, but actually we have youth that sometimes come to us from out of state as well.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. And you're founded by Mildred Jones, and
Yes.
you provide temporary shelter for runaways in crisis. This is, like I always say, I'm not super religious, but you're doing God's work.
We like to think that we're making an impact.
Yeah, that's great. So what is going on at the Casa Youth Shelter right now? Do you see an increase? How's it been going?
Well, everything's going great at the shelter. We've been very fortunate that for over 40 years, we have had an amazing program, as you mentioned, started by a woman named Mildred Jones. And for 40 years, we've been ensuring that youth in crisis, they have a safe place to stay. And it's more than just, 3 hots and a cot with food and a bed, but it's a home-like environment for youth who might be experiencing homelessness or running away from home or having crisis in their life where home is not the right place for them at that time.
Yeah.
And we have to ensure that kids aren't on the street during these vulnerable moments, because it just takes a day or so for somebody who wants to get them involved with gangs, drugs, trafficking, to find a vulnerable youth and pick them up, and then we've lost them. So things are great because the kids are there and they're listening to music. I saw them playing the guitars. They love music. They were playing guitars today, playing the piano. And whether they're not doing that kind of stuff, they're out on the basketball court or they're in a clinical group. Our shelter is very counseling focused, and so the youth are often engaged in 2 or 3 groups a day to talk about kind of what's going on in their life and realign them to their goals. And then they have individual counseling 3 times a week, and then we want, most importantly, their families to come in for family counseling at least twice a week so that we can really solidify that family unit if it's safe and reunify them back home, because home is the most permanent plan for a youth, especially with the housing market.
Right.
Kids can't be on their own when they're 18 these days, and so we need to keep them stable at home.
What's the age range?
The youth that come to our shelter are ages 12 to 17 years old, and so we are working with teens who have a lot of distractions sometimes in their life and sometimes want to make really impulsive decisions, and they're also really creative and really looking for the future, and they want to be grown and be adults, and so we're working with the teenagers out there.
So tell us about Mildred Jones, the founder of the organization. What was her background?
Well, her story is pretty remarkable. She was born in 1909 and grew up and became a social worker and working with girls who were in LA who were pregnant, teens, and was working as a social worker when Pearl Harbor was bombed, and she decided she needed to join the Navy and became a lieutenant commander in the Navy during World War II, which was an incredible rank for a woman. Lived an amazing life throughout the Korean War, and when she retired from the military, became very involved in empowerment again. Now we have civil rights really hitting up, and got very involved with making the community and focusing back on civil issues. And so she worked on the civil rights issues down in the South. We're told she was marching in the Second Selma March. She came back here and labeled the fruit with the farm workers' rights movement, and then really started looking at the youth movement and what's going on with youth, and why are the youth in the 60s on the streets more than the youth in the 50s, and they're the same kids with some of the same issues, that they've found their voice, like many groups in our communities found their voice in the 60s. And so actually in the late 60s, Ronald Reagan, when he was governor, he appointed her to lead a commission on youth homelessness and finding out why are the kids on the streets. And she came back and she told him that there's nowhere for the youth to go. There was no place for youth in crisis to go. So she was in her late 60s when she turned to her friends and decided that at the age of 68, she should open a youth shelter.
Oh, wow.
Right. So for those of you listening, if you haven't opened a youth shelter yet, you get going.
You got a chance.
Well,
she actually lived for 27 years. Right before her 97th birthday is when she passed, and she was
Wow.
the mother to all the teens in the shelter. And we keep her mission alive 40 years later.
That is awesome. And we have you on here so that you can reach out to the community if there's any youth listening now and haven't found the resources, how can that they might need. They're living on the street and listening on the Pocho Hour of Power.
That's right, like my son.
Yes.
How can people get a hold of you, and also how can people support you?
That's a great question. Thank you. This is critical for youth to hear that there are places like Casa Youth Shelter that are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We take teens in at any hour of any day. I know sometimes there's places only available at certain times for the crisis, and we recognize that a youth in crisis needs to be able to reach out. The phone number that a youth or anybody who knows a youth who might need a safe place to be, the phone number to our shelter is 1-800-914-2272. Again, we'll have staff members any hour of the day answering, and they can answer any any questions.
Can we hear that number again?
Sure. That's 1-800-914-2272. And they can also visit our website. That's casayouthshelter.org. If they want to check us out online, we have a Facebook page and an Instagram page. And we just want to make sure we're accessible to youth or families if they maybe have a youth and have questions about the program, that we can answer any of those questions. We have some really cool opportunities coming up. We'd love for anybody who's interested to come join us on May 11th at the shelter from 2 to 6. We are having an awareness through art show at the shelter where we are opening up the shelter to the community to ask for people to come and enjoy all mediums of art on the theme of what does home mean to you, really celebrating our name Casa for home. And we know that home sometimes means love and sometimes it means heartbreak. So we're going to be showcasing all types of art. And if you are an artist out there and you'd like to submit a piece, we do have a call for artists happening right now through April 11th, and we'd love all mediums of art to come and see if we can have you as part of our show.
Wow, that's great.
We can also just do a pitch for we're opening a new education program for our youth so that we can keep them engaged in their schooling. And we're looking for 13 new Chromebooks. If anybody would like to contact us because they have a Chromebook and they'd like to provide us a new Chromebook, we want to make sure our kids are engaged in schooling and counseling and all these important programs so that we can stabilize their lives.
Wow, Pamela Sepulveda, thank you so much. That's a lot of info. Everybody call 1-800-914-CASA. That's very nice. 2272. And for the Casa Youth Shelter, or find them, Casa Youth Shelter, find them on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. Pamela, thank you so much for joining us here on the Pocho Hour of Power, and keep up the good work.
It's a pleasure. Hey, thank you so much, guys. Have a great one.
Sure, you too. All right.
That's a professional right there.
Hey, and that's right. She's